The number one thing that caused me to lose respect for the opposite gender was porn. Straight up, porn. Porn was the number one thing that caused me to lose respect for women in general. And the reason why was because, you know, coming from a place where I was trying to get some, or even I was trying to get a girlfriend or a wife, and yet, you know, I would turn on the internet or whatever, and there's just tens of thousands of girls doing porn, and it's just like, what? You know, like in the real world, you know, they're friend zoning guys. They're acting like, you know, most guys shouldn't even talk to them. Most guys are, you know, beneath them, and yet here they are doing this disgusting thing, totally immoral for the whole world to see, and those videos don't go away. And there's just millions and millions of these scenes out there, and it's just like, what? You know, coming from a place where, you know, growing up blue-pilled, we were told, oh, you know, women are different, women are sensitive, women are emotional, you know, women are the fairer sex, if you guys have heard that one, right? That old lie. You know, and then to, you know, turn on the internet, and all of a sudden you just see these nasty examples of what they really do. And there's all kinds of arguments, you know, such as like, oh, well, they're only doing it for the money, or, you know, they were forced into it for some reason. And it's just like, nah, those are poor arguments. First of all, they don't look forced into it. They look like they're really enjoying it. So that's out, you know. And I think I read somewhere that I think it's like 80 to 90% of it is no, it's like 97% of it. I think I read somewhere that 97% of it is voluntary. Only 3% of, you know, pornography is part of this sex slave trade or whatever, because that's highly illegal, right? And websites would get shut down if they showed those videos. So it's a poor argument, because I always hear that, oh, it's involuntary, it's a sex slave trade. Like, such a poor argument. The other thing is, you know, yeah, they do like getting paid, but it's a power thing. And I've talked about this before in videos that I've made about porn. It's a power thing. They like it that, you know, men all over the world are jerking off to them. And imagine if that was you and millions of women around the world were jerking off to you. Imagine how good you would feel. You'd be like, wow, you know, millions of women all around the world are fingering themselves, pleasuring themselves to my videos. It's like, you would feel pretty amazing. So in a sense, it's like, I get it, but it's not congruent with how they act in real life, you know? And it's like, wait a minute, you're out here acting like I need to wine and dine you to even get a kiss at the end of the date, and maybe a second date, right? Like, but you're gonna go get naked in front of a camera for the whole world to see for like $500? What? So that was like the biggest thing for me, where I was just like, man, what they say they are and what they really are two vastly different things. Now, I know not every woman does porn. I get that. But growing up blue-pilled, you know, and growing up where, like, you know, you're not Chad, because Chad knows that women love sex, you know. Growing up trying to get some and, like, getting rejected, and, you know, getting some, you know, getting girlfriends here and there, and you know, getting to second base here, third base there, and eventually hitting a home run, you know. But you got to work so hard for it. Whereas, you know, she's over here just all day, every day on her knees for Chad. you lose respect. You lose respect, and you're like, what you say you are and how you act and how you want to be treated is not congruent with how you really are, right? And that was one of the biggest red pills for me. One of them, not the biggest. The biggest was when I realized that, women want men for money. That was the biggest one. For me, that was the most pivotal, which really caused me to take go full red pill. But porn was a big one. It really was. It was like, it was a game changer for me, because I was like, well, wait a minute. Why am I like expected to respect, love, cherish, protect these women who are not even moral themselves? What's that about? Why am I, right? Why do I have to treat them a certain way when they don't treat themselves a certain way? So it was really disappointing, actually, in a way. Like, on the one hand, it's like, oh wow, that's amazing. Like, sex is amazing. Like, there's so much, their bodies are so beautiful, and like, oh man, you feel like, oh gosh, I just want to have sex. And it's like, on the one hand, and then on the other hand, you're like, how am I supposed to love a woman? How am I supposed to cherish one of these women if I know what they're doing behind closed doors? It's like, I could never do it. And it's like, people make the argument and they say like, oh well, men do it too. It's like, well, first of all, no. Like, no, men don't do it in the same way that women do it. Men take what we can get, and it's few and far between if we can get it. First of all, as far as voluntary, unless you live in a place where you can buy a prostitute, that's a different story. Brazil or someplace, or even Nevada, but I'd much rather go to Brazil because I'm sure the girls there are cheaper and probably even cleaner, believe it or not. It's again, people make the argument like, oh, men do it too. Well, you're the one watching porn. It's like, yeah, because I don't have a wife. Because I don't have, if I had a wife, I'd be faithful to her. I wouldn't be, I would try not to watch porn, and I wouldn't need to watch porn because I would have her for sex. People are like, oh, well, what if you get bored? It's like, it's not really the point. I'm trying to love and cherish this, this woman. I'm not trying to go explore my sexual, I'm not trying to go, chase sexual conquests, right? At least that's me. I know a lot of guys do, and that's a completely different story. It's like, I don't condone men cheating or anything like that, but the irony is, women complain that men are cheaters, and men are the ones who watch porn, but yet they're the ones who do it. It's such hypocrisy, first of all. Second of all, I know for a fact a lot of men want love at a young age. I did, and I've talked to a lot of young men out there, and I know that they want marriage and love, but they can't find it, and they're lonely, so they really have no other option but to watch porn. And then there's people like Mia Khalifa and Brie Olson and Lana Rhoades and these reformed porn stars who are blaming men for their choices and the fact that they got rich. And it's just like, no, man, it's not a male exploited industry. I mean, I'm not saying that the men in that industry are not exploiting a opportunity, because they are, but they're both exploiting. Women are exploiting the opportunity to get money, to get exposure, fame, and these women make millions of dollars in that industry. And they're not giving that money away to charity. They're not, most of them are not using that money to better themselves or better others. They're just using it on materialism, buy themselves homes, make their life great. It's all selfishness. It's all greed and materialism. And what do you expect from an immoral industry, So that whole argument that like, oh, it's an exploit, men are exploiting women. It's like, nah, man, I don't buy it. I think they're both exploiting the system for the gains Yes, the guys want the sex, but they also want money, and the women enjoy the sex. Obviously, as you can see on camera, they're enjoying it, and also they get rich. So that's a poor argument. So yeah, man, it's like you can't blame shift in that scenario when you're happy to be on camera. But the thing that kills me is like there's so many girls who are like regular normal girls who do it, and they don't do it to get rich. They just do it because they want to have fun, they want to experience it, and because they want guys to jerk off to them. It gives them a sense of power. They really are not in it for the long haul. There's plenty, tens of thousands of girls who just do like 1 or 2 scenes, and that's it, and you never see or hear from them again. And it's just like, what a seedy, insidious, evil industry. Yes, on the one hand, that's what it is. But on the other hand, it's a red pill of female nature, right? And I watched it from that angle, and I was just like, oh, this is what they're doing, you know? They're rejecting you, but then they're going out and filming these videos, and it's just like, oh, well, I have no respect for that. I have no respect for you as a gender, because how you're acting and how you really are not congruent. They're 2 different things. You know, you're acting like your shit doesn't stink. You're acting like you are pure and proper and blah, blah, blah. And it's like the exact opposite is true. It's just like a politician lying to you, you know? So yeah, that pretty much blew the lid off the whole, you know, women's equality movement, women's lib movement, women as the fairer sex. And it's like, and I think a lot of men today have just bit the bullet because they know that's, you know, that's what women are doing. And I think they've just bit the bullet and said, well, you know what, I want a family, I want kids, so I understand that I have to have used goods. I understand that I have to accept her past. I understand that that's just a part of it. So, and you'll hear this, and I've heard this from a lot of people, even conservative men I've heard say this. And they use this phrase, and it's her past is none of my business. And I'm just like, what? Like, no, it absolutely is your business. If that's going to be the mother of your kids, you absolutely want to know her past. You absolutely want to know what kind of stuff she's been into, because that's going to affect your marriage. So it is your business. That's going to affect the quality of the relationship. That's going to affect how she's going to raise your kids. Is she going to raise your kids moral, or is she going to just be this street woman who, you know, who has no foundation, has no wholesome foundation or moral foundation? She probably isn't even telling the truth. And how could you trust her? Nowadays, if a guy asks a girl, you know, her lay count, or, you know, did she date a lot of guys in the past, she'll probably just, you know, drop him right there, stop talking to him. Because this is part of this, you know, radical feminist ideology, which is, I'm empowered, so therefore I can do whatever I want with my body, including killing your children if I want to, virtually in a virtually autonomous way. I have 100% say over whether I have an abortion or not. Like, what? You could just kill my kid? and you think that you can go out and just sleep with as many men as you want, and you know, dirty sex, do anal, lick the guy's balls and asshole, and then you're gonna 5 years later get married to me? Nah, no, I don't think so. I don't want you to be the mother of my kids. You're doing all that nasty stuff. And again, women will always say, oh, guys do it too. Guys are hoes too. That is, what is that? That's like saying, well, I'm going to hell, you're coming to hell with me, right? It's like, well, first of all, again, men do not have access to sex in the same way that women have access to sex. So no, we're not hoes in the same way. You guys are hoes. I don't encourage guys to sleep around. It's dangerous. I talk about it. No, you probably shouldn't. But when we're 19, 20, when we're lonely and ready to get married, 19, 20 years old, which is prime age, because if you think about it, 150 years ago, right, the average age that people died was like 50. So people were getting married at 20, which is good. That's the age you should get married at, because your hormones are peaking out and you need to have sex. And if you don't get married at 20, you're going to go have sex. And all the negative stuff that comes with that. Now, of course, the devil today wants to remove all the negative drawbacks. That's why he has abortion. That's why he has contraceptives. That's why I'm not saying contraceptives are bad. It's like, if you're going to do it, use a contraceptive. I get it, but too many outs, man. Too many, the pill, it's encouraged. I mean, that's environmentally encouraged to be promiscuous. But again, I was talking with somebody about this the other day, and we were talking about how it ruins people's character. And the guy was saying that, after about 5 to 10, by the time she reaches 10 lay count, she's toxic, she's jaded, she's manipulative, she tells lies, and she even starts hurting men. And I was like, yeah, that's true. That makes sense. Yeah, I agree with that. I've been saying that forever. By the time she hits 5 to 10 guys, she's already learned how to lie, how to manipulate, how to use sex to get what she wants, how to do this and that. These average girls out here, you can't even have a conversation with them. They don't even speak the human language. All they know how to do is tell lies and act fake. That's it. And pop that thing and twerk, right? That's all they know how to do. It's just like, you really want that to be the mother of your kids, bro? You really want to get into a 40-year relationship with somebody like that? Or 50, 60-year, depending on how long you live? You really want to be with that person for the next 40, 50 years? Who slept with 100 guys before you met her? And the guys out here, these beta boys, these white knight blue pill, cuck boys, they act like, you just gotta accept it. It's normal. It's natural. You have no other choice. It's the way that it is, because that's just what they do these days. And it's like, man, then you're making a good case for MGTOW, man. You're making a good case for MGTOW. But anyway, I'm gonna end it there. Appreciate you guys listening to my little ranting podcast on the red pill. Hope you guys stay up. Have a blessed day. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.